so definition, what is a dhatu? Anyone know so far? I did give you notes in the first class about dhatus as well, but we didn't go into a lot of details about them. The dhatus are the tissues of the body. Okay? So that's a simple one, simple definition, different tissue. Okay? Literally, in Sanskrit, dhatu means that which holds together. But let's talk about the tissues. So dhatus hold or support the body together. The doshas do the function, and the dhatus provide the site to do the function. So the doshas have the actions, and the dhatus are there. They're the actual physical manifestation. Doshas and dhatus are developed from food, so the food we eat are what provide the tissues for the body to function. Dhatus form concentric circles from gross to subtle, from outside to inside. That basically means that these dhatus or these tissues have a cycle throughout the body. So there are 7 upadhatus, which basically means secondary tissues that are basically byproducts through tissue digestion. We'll talk about that a little bit more, especially when we talk about nutrition. Malas, or the waste products, are also produced during each dhatu digestion. So every time a tissue is digested or some sort of cellular metabolism happens, there's also a waste product that happens, and we're going to be talking about the main kinds of waste products in the body as well. Dhatus support the body and provide the nutrition to the more subtle dhatus, or upadhatus. And the upadhatus only support the body, they do not provide a lot of nutrition. We'll talk about those upadhatus in a little bit. In disease process, dhatus get affected. And so when a dhatu is affected or diseased, for example, if you have toxic blood, it's called dushya. I'm not going to test you on that, but just for your own knowledge. Dhatus are measured in Anjali Brahmana, and that's actually, in Ayurveda you'll notice that quite often, that things are measured based on how many handfuls it takes. And so we also talk about how much blood is in the body. It's measured in how many handfuls generally would be in the body. Because they did this all very primordially in the beginning. So. Grosser dhatus nourish subtler dhatus, and subtler dhatus protect the grosser dhatus. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, what we mean by grosser dhatus. So, let's talk about rasa. Upadhatu of rasa, or the secondary tissue, so in the lymphatic plasma serum of the blood, secondary tissue that's produced by it is breast milk as well as menstrual fluid. The mala, or the waste product, is generally kapha, which is kind of like fatty waste. We'll go into more detail about that. In fact, let's just identify them right now. Then we've got rakta, which is more like the red blood cells of the blood, okay, of the blood itself. So here the upadhatu, or the secondary, the byproduct, is the tendons and blood vessels, and it's mainly pitta, toxic pitta, or excess pitta, that's created as a waste. Mamsa, or the muscle tissue. Upadhatu is the subcutaneous fat and skin, and that should say secretions from the natural openings, so it more so means like sebaceous secretions on the skin. It's the muscle tissue.
So the pores?
Yeah, usually sebaceous glands are the pores of the skin. Meda, or the fat tissue. Again, ligaments and sweat is the main waste product. And asti, bone tissues. Secondary byproduct is the teeth, and the waste product, hair and nails. And majja, or the bone marrow. No real upadhatu. The waste products, tears, oily secretions on the skin, feces, that sort of thing. And then finally shukra, or the reproductive fluid, sperm or ovum. Okay, so that's basically the main categories of tissues that we talk about in Ayurvedic anatomy. Let's go into a little bit more detail about them. Okay, let's talk about rasa dhatu. So, rasa is the grossest of all the dhatus. It is plasma, serum, lymph. It's the juice of life, which has nutrients from all the other dhatus. Basically, when the intestines absorb nutrients into the bloodstream, it goes into rasa. So that's where we get all the goods from the food that we eat. It goes into rasa, and rasa distributes it all through to the other tissues. Rasa, or the lymphatic plasma lymph fluid, takes 5 days to form from the day of ingestion of food. Don't worry about the measurements. It's an upadhatu is breast milk and menstrual fluid, and mala is kapha. Top position made up of all of the elements, but primarily jala or water. So, sites. Well, where is the rasa? It's everywhere. But main sites are the heart, especially the lymphatic channels, the lymphatic glands, and the venous blood. Okay, blood in the veins. So, Parinan. Let's not talk about Parinan. Basically, Parinan means that it nourishes all of the dhatus. So rasa is like the river of nutrients. And that's basically that all of the nutrients that come through the intestines, that we absorb through the intestines, that go into the bloodstream, that's rasa, all the good stuff. Okay, due to the process of catabolism, dhatus break down and become deficient. Rasa dhatu replenishes those to maintain balance. So it's basically responsible for replenishing all of the tissues around the body with new nutrients and minerals and everything else it might need. Okay, aharasa, or the digested food, is absorbed by blood vessels and carried to the liver. The liver contains all of the different elemental agnis, or the fires of digestion, which further digest the food fluid, or the food tissues. And dhatu agnis do further digestion to develop particular dhatus. This is tricky stuff, so let me know if you've got any questions about it. First, rasa. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little later. I want you to know that rasa is lymphatic plasma serum of the blood, of course. Right. First, rasa is created, which has all bhutas for other dhatus. So essentially, rasa has all of the nutrients that all of the tissues in the body needs from the beginning, because it gets it from food, and that's what we eat food for, if we're eating the proper foods, of course. Thus, it provides nourishment to the other tissues. The intelligence and the subtlety and the subtle energy of rasa, which comes from the food, gives contentment to other dhatus. This energy maintains strength, love, compassion, etc. It maintains body temperature and pH through sweat glands, coagulates blood due to kapha. It's responsible for lactation and menstruation. Okay. Now, signs of deficient rasa. Well, here you know if the tissues are deficient. Now, yeah, if you're just always thirsty. Yeah. Tiredness, dry skin, intolerance to loud noise, drowsiness, lack of faith, enthusiasm, that sort of thing. And rasa is very related to the subtle energy of ojas that we talked to in the last class. I talked about there. If there's too much rasa, again, you get things like pale skin, really dull skin, heaviness, obesity, lethargy, indigestion, lack of bone, lack of tone, body aches, anemia, cough, asthma, fevers. So perfect rasa means you're happy, strong, healthy, and intelligent, skin soft, smooth, and glowing, and the hair on the body and head are oily, soft, and silky. When you say oily, we don't mean like, greasy. It's just, soft and nice. Okay.
So it says
essentially, indigestion.